Welcome to the Questionable Behavior Podcast. Please don't forget to follow us on Instagram at _QBPC. Also, give us 5 stars on all podcast platforms and go subscribe on YouTube and all of that. Google us. You'll find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. We got a special episode out here in Atlanta. We got Breeze Mantana from New York. He left us. He came to Atlanta. So right away, Breeze, I want to start with what brought you out here to begin with. You came out here like 3 years ago. What made the move happen?
All right, so around that time, I was going through some things in the street or whatever, and it just came to a point where I said to myself, and my girl or whatever, my girl was pregnant, and I was like, it's coming to a time where at some point I'm gonna have to stop doing what I'm doing. Right. So we had already talked about possibly living in Atlanta when I came out here for A3C 2016. Mm-hmm. That was the first time I ever entertained living outside of New York. I was like, oh, I could actually live out here. Like, I like living out. Like, I like how it is to be out here. Like, I just like the culture, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love it. Yeah. So that was the first time that I actually entertained living outside of New York or the tri-state area. So, like, she was pregnant or whatever. I was going through whatever I was going through. Mm-hmm. And I was just, it's like...
It was just kind of time to get yourself away from there because you knew you were going to keep getting yourself into things that you don't want to get yourself with a child, in a sense.
I wasn't necessarily running into, like it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, we're not going to get into specifics, but what I'm saying is, like, basically, you just didn't want to put yourself in a bad situation or be caught up in a bad situation when you have a kid on the way kind of thing. Yeah, so you're like, it was kind of lined up for you to...
It was kind of like intuition. So it's like she got pregnant and she didn't have a lot of family in New York. So she ended up coming down here to stay with her family to get more family support because she don't have a lot of family in New York. So she had family here, so she came
got it.
Yeah, so it wasn't supposed to be permanent. So at some point, long story short, I came here for A3C 2017. Yeah. And I just never went back home.
Oh, so from A3C, you're like, all right, I'm staying.
When I was coming here for A3C, I already packed all my stuff or whatever, and I was already deciding, like, yo, I'm not going to come back. Like, I'm just not going to come back. So that's what happened. So I came here, and I stayed, and I never went back to New York to live. I've been back to, like, back and forth, but I never been back to live. So, yeah.
So what was that, like, initial transition like? I mean, obviously, everybody from New York has a certain... idea in their mind that, you come to Atlanta, this is where people work together, blah blah blah, you get put on over here, but obviously it's not as easy, it's not that straightforward. So what was it like for you in the beginning to kind of start making connections and start making moves over here?
Well, I already started making connections like the year prior when I came out here. I started connecting with dudes that lived out here. And those are like some of my best friends right now. You know what I'm saying? Like dudes that I connected with at that time. Yeah. So it was kind of a smooth transition because it's not like I didn't know anybody. I did know some people and I did connect with some people. So it kind of made it easier. As far as like everything else, like I kind of like stopped cold turkey what I was doing in New York. Oh, wow. So it was a transition of finding out what I was gonna do. For income.
Right. Just to make a living at that point.
Yeah, just to make a living at that point or whatever. So, me and my girl, we put our heads together and we started a business together, and you know what I'm saying, we ended up getting income, and then
that's dope. Shout out to business. Shout out to business. What kind of business, if you don't mind me asking?
It's a consignment business.
Nice.
Yeah, luxury consignment. So me and her, we started doing that. And we made a lot of money or whatever, and I was able to immediately we started making money as soon as we started. So I was able to definitely leave that alone, and I was able
to turn the hustle into something different. Basically, still the same mentality, just a different lane.
And able to use that money to help fund what I was doing with the music.
Yeah, and speaking about that, you even talk about it in some of your songs about the hardship as an artist to make money. You have to make money, obviously, to invest in studio time, beats, mixing, mastering, everything. Right. And you kind of, if you want to keep going as an artist, you can't really stop making income no matter which way you're making it.
Right.
So just talk a little bit about that, because it is something that comes up in your music where, you know, you have to keep going a certain way even though you don't want to, because you have to keep investing over here.
Right.
So just tell me a little bit about that and how it kind of changed your mentality when you came here to Atlanta.
Yeah. Like a lot of like artists, as well, a lot of artists do know this is expensive. You know what I'm saying? It's expensive to be an indie artist. It's not cheap to be an indie artist. You have to pay for videos, like you said. You have to pay for mixing, to pay for mastering, studio time, wardrobe.
Right. Like, and you kind of have to maintain a certain image. Sometimes you kind of forced to, in a sense, so people can.
Yeah, right. Pay attention to you.
Right.
Like if you look like the guy next door or whatever, people don't see you as an artist. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, there's a whole bunch that goes into it, but you know, it's not easy or whatever. The best thing that I could tell artists to do or whatever is like find something that's like some type of like passive income or something that's not gonna take up all your time, so that you can still have time to be an artist and you can also make money, but where you don't have to necessarily have a job. If you do have a job, you can to like save money and invest into something that's going to be passive, so that you can have the free time. Because you really, to be honest with you, you can't really hustle and do music. You can't have a job and do music. You know what I'm saying? Like, even hustling takes up a lot of your time. Like, I was working 20-hour days. So to do anything concerning with music, I would have to like walk away from what I was doing and lose money, you know what I'm saying, to go do music. And that's
then, and that's kind of like the thing that like even me as a podcast, you know what I mean, you enter a career, you enter a job, and you're making money, but now if you don't make that money, you can't really invest. Like all the equipment that you see here, you know what I mean, someone had to buy all that, you know, so without the job you can't really buy any of that. So you know, it came to a point where you're moving up career wise, but you can't even go too far because you know it's going to take up a lot more time. But you still have to progress, because the more you progress this way, as long as you don't quit on the other end, you have more money now to invest and push this forward. Right. So it's kind of like you got to find, initially in the beginning especially, you got to find that balance and realize, like, even though you have a job, you don't have to stop pursuing the music. You don't have to stop pursuing whatever artistic value you're trying to add. Yeah, right. You just have to kind of focus here so you can make as much money from them as possible and invest it here so that this can take off. Right, you know?
Exactly. But yeah, it's hard with splitting your time up between a job or anything else that you're doing or whatever. But if you can find something that's like more passive, like I don't know, it could be a trucking company or something, you know what I'm saying, or
something that you don't have to put your hands on.
Something
if you
that
can,
you don't have to be so hands on with, that you can make money from. There's like, it's 2021. There's a lot of options.
Right. Or even if you get a job, get a job that, I mean, obviously, if you can, everybody has their own different hardships. But if you can find a job that ends at, if you're stopping at 4 o'clock, you stop. You don't bring anything home with you, so you can go right into the next thing. Right. That's a perfect scenario, because you know, a lot of jobs, they want you to stay after. We're gonna check your emails at 7, 8 o'clock at night. You're like, I can't. I have other shit to do. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're fine. But,
So, initially when you started, you first started, I guess the first time you ever rapped was in like 7th grade.
Kind of.
Like
it was. That was the first.
You walked into people kind of like battle rapping, and you're like, all right.
Yeah, how you know that?
Oh, bro, that's my job. That's my job. That's gonna be another sound clip on the question of behavior. So you walked into people kind of, you know, battle rapping, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna try it. Yeah. And then from that moment, that led to a lot of things for you. Yeah. So
that's crazy that you know that, because I don't say that a lot, but I don't talk about that a lot in interviews. I probably mentioned that maybe a few times, but yeah, that's crazy.
So tell me about, like, all right, so obviously it's hard for people to kind of put yourself out there and, you know, for people to judge you. So you first,
I like you, man. I like you.
So you first put yourself out there and in front of people, and you were rapping. You must have gotten a good feedback, because sometimes, especially as a little kid, if someone's talking trash to you, kind of stops you from pursuing further. Yeah, right. So when you got that first feedback, what was the feeling like? Oh shit, I'm gonna keep rapping a little more. Tell me about that.
Well, what happened?
You.
What happened was I started writing around like the time when I was like 9. So I was writing kind of like for years before anybody really knew that I rapped. So I kind of like built the confidence. And then like when I entered that little cipher or whatever, like I heard dudes or whatever, and it's like, yeah, they cool. But once I heard, like, when you in a cipher and you know you nice, once you hear they rhymes, it's like, oh, like, you know, I got this.
Could do it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't fucking with me. They ain't messing with me. So it's like I got in the cipher, and then the reaction automatically was crazy, like immediately. And that was the first time that people outside of my house knew that I rap, like outside of like my younger brother. He's a year younger than me. Like that was really the only person that knew that I was writing
at that time, up until that moment.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a quick commercial break, real quick, and then we're gonna get back to his story from when he was young and jump into the cipher and what that led to next.
Mama said don't give a friend a chance to just respect yourself. Life got me feeling like the world in hell is parallel. We all came out the cut, yeah, just different fabrics. Can't show me love while I'm here, don't do it in the casket. I ain't even gotta point out all the differences. I'm on the plane every week. Shit is sweet, different city, different freak. Treat me different cause it's me.
And we're back after that brief message from Stainless Brand. Shout out Steely. He's actually the one that set this up to begin with. So shout out Steely on Stainless Brand and everybody involved in that. So we were just talking about how you started in 7th grade and started kind of put yourself in a cipher when you were young. Yeah. That kind of led for you to start having a reputation for battle rap throughout high school. Yeah. Right? So you started battle rapping around high school a little bit. Yeah. So that progression, what was that like? And when you were doing that?
Battle rapping in high school, I had like a crazy reputation or whatever. I never really lost. My record was probably like 83, 84 and 1 or something like that. It's a crazy record. I lost once to this kid, this kid Chris Black. That's the only person that I ever lost to, and it was a battle where I was unprepared. We had battled a couple times. Went at it. We had like a real rivalry in high school. Like anybody that's from Westchester, from Mount Vernon, they know that like about the Chris Black and Breeze Mantana rivalry.
So that was the top two people coming out of high school, basically. Mount Vernon.
Yeah, it was like a top 5, I would say, and we were in that top 5. It's like 3 other dudes or whatever that that was like the best, that was considered the best, and I would say that me and him were in that top 5. Yeah,
and then that reputation kind of just started rolling over, and somehow you ended up meeting the platinum producer Spunk Bigger, right?
Yeah, right.
And that was through battle rap, or how did that link up happen?
There was this kid Spills. So Spills knew Spunk. Ironically, Spunk knew my stepfather, but my stepfather never introduced me to Spunk, so I didn't know Spunk through him. Right. But I've always heard Spunk's name in my household. Yeah. Like I just didn't know him. But once I started like really rapping or whatever and like getting a reputation in high school, the kid Spills or whatever learned about me somehow. We ended up developing a friendship somehow. I don't remember exactly how. And Spunk was like, yo, you need to get, Spills was like, you need to get in the studio. I'm going to bring you to Spunk House. So I was like, Spunk, like I know that name. Like, so I met him. He brought me to his house, and that was like the first time I ever recorded. And Spunk actually taught me song arrangement. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah, like I used to just write.
Yeah.
Like I would write until I thought the song was over. I thought the verse was over. So it could be, it might be like 42 bars or something like that.
Just straight. Yeah.
I didn't know any better. And then I might like try to write a hook. The hook might be too long.
Yeah.
But then he taught me like, 16 bars, 8-bar hooks.
And that's kind of that's probably especially for someone in battle rap.
Yeah.
That's a key thing he could have taught you.
Song structure. Yeah, a lot of battle rappers don't know song structure. So
we see it all the time with battle rappers that are killing in battle rap, and then they can't really make a song, and that's probably something that helped you progress as an artist more than anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you already have the bars, you already were writing, so now it's like, all right, well, if you start focusing structure, putting a song together, now you could really be an artist.
Right.
So tell me, like, what was the first song you made after that?
So the first song that I made,
with the structure, putting those points together that he just taught you. What's the first thing you put?
I don't remember the name of the song. I can't remember the name of the song, but I know that when we recorded it, I might have had like 3 songs that I recorded at his house. So it got on tape, on CD or whatever, and my friends, it wasn't even me, my friends started bringing it to school and playing it for people. So, and it started like circulating around the school, and you know what I'm saying? And then from there, I linked with this other kid named he was calling himself Anonymous at the time. He ended up becoming like 8 million later. But he's calling himself Anonymous. He was like a aspiring producer and engineer and label CEO and all of that. At like 16, he was thinking he's 15, 16, he's thinking these things. So we ended up linking up with him. And I started going to his house and recording. And then we started making these tapes called the Back Down mixtapes. He had a company that he was developing called Back Down ENT in high school.
Yeah.
And we became a part of that. And we started releasing these mixtapes around, like, locally. And we did numbers.
Because you were, at that time, is that the time when you were basically selling hard copies of CDs?
Yeah, like this is my first experience with selling hard copy CDs. They weren't like the most professional CDs in the world. They were burnt from the computer.
Right.
We didn't know that you could go to a place and get them pressed up, and all of that, and like get professional covers and all that. So we did all of that ourselves.
And regardless of that, it still sold a lot.
It still sold a lot. Yeah, we sold a lot of copies. I don't remember an exact amount. It might have been over 1,000 copies. I'm not even sure, but I know a lot of people. The first one did okay. The second one, Volume 2, is what put me in a different conversation or whatever, and we sold the most with the second one.
And I that hustle from people that have done that have sold hard copies is something that new artists don't even understand.
Know nothing about.
Yeah, because now
it's a different era now.
People sit in their room and they just put a song out, and then they're like, all right, well, hopefully these Instagram likes get me the stream. Right, but, when you're out there selling 1,000 hard copies is much better than like 10,000 streams. First of all, money-wise, of course, it's better. It's more, you're getting more money. But second of all, you're getting real followers. If someone's buying it from you in hand, that's someone that's really going to be looking forward to seeing more from you.
Right,
so,
exactly.
Tell me a little bit about that in a sense, and like, are you still seeing those people that you've sold hard copies to still paying attention to you now?
Yeah, a lot of them are from the neighborhood. So, a lot of them are from where I'm from. Well, all of them were at that time, because it was like we were in high school. So it's like everybody that was in the town were from where we were from that was buying the CDs. I wasn't going to like, another state and selling CDs there. It was a local thing. So everybody had that CD, and anybody that I could think of that I knew at that time or didn't know personally, like I might have seen them around, but a lot of people had that CD. So yeah, it was a like a big local thing.
Does that give how did that motivate you to keep going in a sense?
It made me arrogant. I'm not gonna lie. Like the battles, winning all those battles, and that's one of my arrogance is ultimately what made me lose that battle with Black, is because
you weren't preparing. I got this
prepared.
basically.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared. So yeah, the battles and the CDs and like the hood notoriety or whatever, and people just knowing what I do and knowing that I'm nice, it kind of got to my head a little bit. Like I was arrogant, because I felt like nobody could mess with me.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, that's what was the result of those things.
When do you think? Because now after meeting you, I know that arrogance is it's a different type of arrogance at this point. You've definitely broken yourself down to a point where you don't start saying I'm the best at people and whatever. You're sitting there and absorbing and learning things. That's at least the perception I got.
Right.
So when do you think you broke that down? Because obviously, when we're young, once you feel like you're the shit, nobody can touch you when you're young. You know what I mean? So at what age do you think you started like, all right, breaking it down and being like, all right, I could learn more, I could do better instead of like I'm already doing the best.
Probably got just more mature coming into like my 20s. Like late teens, 20s, because that's when I started going through like more real life experiences. Like as far as like living on my own, living on my own, you know, having to pay rent and getting in trouble for the first like real trouble, like legal trouble. And like 2009, I caught a gun charge or whatever, and
at that moment you're thinking nobody can stop me, nobody, you know what I mean, and then it comes out of nowhere.
It was just a lot going on at that time with me in my personal life period. So like you just start experiencing real life stuff,
right?
And then it kind of like humbles you a little bit. Like as far as like music goes and rap, I still know I'm nice, you know what I'm saying. But as far as life, I don't necessarily carry myself like that. You know what I'm saying? At least not like. You know, I try not to. You know what I'm saying? I'm very humble. You know what I'm saying? As to a certain extent, I listen to people. Like I don't just walk around like I'm that guy.
Yeah, that's exactly like the point I was trying to come across is that when you're doing music, especially starting at a young age, and you get to that arrogant spot where you feel like you're the best and nobody can touch you, you kind of stop listening.
Yeah, right.
And when you stop listening, you don't progress musically,
right?
You know, so being able to humble yourself, and then obviously your bars didn't get any weaker. You've gotten better at writing and all that. You've gotten better at song structure. So it's not about the fact that you're not a good artist and humbling yourself like, oh, I'm not good. Right, it's more of like, hey, there's always more to learn.
Yeah, right.
There's always more to learn. So you just sit back and you soak it in.
Also, you could always take a loss. Like you can just in life in general. Like if everything's going well, that doesn't mean everything's gonna go well all the time. You know what I'm saying? Things happen. Like you know what I'm saying? Like everything is not gonna be peachy. You know what I'm saying? Shit happens. You could be on a high rise and then you know what I'm saying, something happens and knocks you down. So it's just a part of life. So you just gotta
keep going in a sense, and know that time will bring it all around anyway. It could be a rough time now, but you wait that period out, and the good times will come back.
Right, absolutely.
The other thing is, what would you say is the biggest difference between Atlanta that you've and New York that you've noticed personally in regards to music, in regards to you being as an artist? What do you think is what kind of advice would you give New Yorkers about Atlanta, for example?
I mean, Atlanta reminds me a lot of like how New York used to be. Like when I started going out in New York was like at the tail end of the like around, I'll probably say like around like 06, 07, 08. Like that's when I first started like going to like more adult parties, even before I was old enough necessarily to get in. But that's when I started like going out more. Like of course when I was young I went to teen parties and things like that or whatever. Like, but I'm talking about as like adult parties where, you know what I'm saying, like there's 21-year-olds, 25-year-olds, things like that or whatever. Like there was like a club scene. If anybody that's watching this remembers like the club scene in New York at that time between like I said like 06 and 2009, 2010, it was like it's a lot of different things going on. So it was something to do every single night in New York at that time.
That's true.
Like from Monday to Sunday, there was a spot popping
somewhere to go, somewhere to spend money. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Our cameraman over here ruining the interview with his phone. No,
that's all right.
Damn, Dion. Oh, he just did a selfie. He's like, I'm not even recording this anymore. No.
Yeah, but it was something to do every single night in New York. And here, it's like that now. Like it's something to do every single night here. Yeah. Every night. There's not a single night off.
And like opportunities to network on top of the fact that there's parties and whatever, you could still go there and meet people and progress.
Or you could just like if you know somebody or whatever, people are accepting to you. Like they welcome you with open arms. So let's say like one time, and this is not like to name drop or anything like that, but one time I was with my man, and he brought me to Sunny Digital Studio.
Yeah.
And he introduced me to him or whatever. And it's not like, oh, why he's here. You know what I'm saying? Like, who is this?
Yeah, it's like, what's up?
What's up?
Buddy?
How you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as to where in, like, New York, there's this elitist attitude.
There is.
Yeah. There like, it's, if you're lit at that time and you in New York, if you're a lit artist or a lit producer or whoever, and your man got somebody with
you,
it's like
switch up on people is kind of
it's crazy. So it's like it'll be like, yo, who the fuck is he? Instead of just embracing you. Here it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? If he brought you with him, obviously you're good people. It's more like that kind of thing. So or else you wouldn't be here.
I mean, I've noticed personally of walking into rooms early on when we first started and talking to artists and trying to interview and whatever the case, and people being kind of standoffish. Some people, not almost everybody we've had on the show has been a natural connection, and it's worked out. Everybody's been humble, but people around them kind of being standoffish. And then later on, the interview's done and stuff comes out, and we've obviously progressed. You meet them again like a year later, and like, oh, what's up? Now you're, but which to me and. Like my after noticing that happen so many times, in my opinion, it's kind of like you don't have any obligation to fuck with me, and if you don't, that's cool. I know there's gonna be a time when if I keep going, you're gonna fuck with me. Yeah, and when I do see people turning like that, it's just kind of a validation. Like, all right, I'm doing the right thing. The
tables always turn.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I'm doing the right thing.
The tables always turn.
I'm gonna know that all right, this is the type of people that switch up. But I'm not going to hate you for not liking me. That's fine.
Right.
But I'll make sure I'll keep working until a point where you're like, oh, shit, I know him. I know him. Yeah, now you do.
I've seen it happen with producers, artists, a lot of different people. They got to a certain level and it was like, even journalists, bloggers and things like that. I'll give you an example. Like when I had went away for a little while and I came back. And when I came back, I was trying to like rebuild and drop music and things like that. And at this time is like the tail end of the blog era. So this is like 2013. But this is the way that I've known, you know what I'm saying, for the past couple of years. So I'm trying to like reach out to bloggers or whatever, reach out to journalists and get write-ups and send them my music and stuff like that. And they just like cause I'm cold, they're ignoring me. Like blatantly ignoring emails, blatantly ignoring tweets. You know what I'm saying? Just curving, like ultimately. But then as I started to put more stuff out, I did this weekly series in 2013 called Gold Mine Tuesdays, and I released a song every week for like 12 or 13 weeks or something like that. And I started heating up, and as I started heating up, I started getting more posts. But when I was cold, even if I had a relationship with them prior, it was like they was ignoring me. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of like had to like heat back up to even, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but for them to like start coming back around in a sense.
In this industry, it's a very what have you done for me now type of industry. Like, what did you do for me today? Right. If you didn't do anything for me today, it doesn't matter what you did yesterday. It doesn't matter what you did the week before that. So you know what I'm saying? It's that's just the way it is.
Yeah. So we were just talking about the journalists and stuff like that. But obviously, people thinking kind of like about what you did for me now. If you can't do nothing for me now, then what's the point?
Yeah.
I mean, I personally, I've had situations where I've had my friends that are artists come through on the show, especially early on, and later on, like what I started realizing is, initially I was getting people on the show whose music I liked, but as a podcast interviewing people, it doesn't fucking matter what I like.
What you like, it matters what the people like.
Yeah, it matters kind of and everybody can like every different thing. The same person, he might like you and I might not. You know what I mean? And it is what it is.
Right.
So what I started focusing on is the work, because if you're working as an artist, it doesn't matter. and I started realizing also that talent really only matters so much. The work behind it is what matters more than anything else.
Right.
So I started focusing kind of like, all right, if you have shows, etc., if you're moving and you have stuff that is consistently putting out, then you know it's deserving for me to sit down and talk with you, because if you keep going that way, there's no way but up.
Right.
So eventually, you know, as long as you keep working, you're gonna keep getting better. And same on my end.
Right.
So there was times where those friends, they stopped kind of working for a little bit. They would hit me back up to be on the show, and it was kind of just, and I did have them back on the show, but I had them in a different way, because now sitting and discussing interviews with people that are consistently working versus with someone who stopped and there's really not much to talk about anymore musically, then in my opinion, it's not that I'm gonna be like, oh well, you're not doing anything, so what's the point?
Yeah, right.
You're still my boy. We have a connection for a long time, so let's just do this where it'll work for me in a sense, for you at the same time, so you can get your stuff out. So one example was a friend of mine. He came and he freestyled on the show. He freestyled, and then we had an open conversation about different topics and whatever. So that helps for his image. So as a journalist, there's still a way that, you know, you could do someone good and still keep your image up to a certain extent. It doesn't have to be like, oh well, you're not doing anything now. Well, oh, I'm interviewing these people now you don't matter no more. You know, because eventually, like, just like with my connection with Steele, I met Steele interviewing him. Now he's linking me with you. Next time I come to Atlanta, I'm gonna hit you up. Yo, do you have anybody? You're gonna link me with the next guy. So you know what I mean. So you know, it's just kind of those connections. You gotta keep them, and obviously everybody works for self-interest at the same time. You know what I mean? We wouldn't be here sitting with each other if Steele didn't tell both of us, oh, he's lit and he's lit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So,
it has to be mutual.
Exactly. It's a mutual kind of respect.
Yeah.
So before we get on to like what's coming up and whatever, you come with a background of your family. They all appreciate music a lot. So musically, did they support you along the way from an early age, or would you say that that's kind of just where you got your passion for music altogether?
Well, my mom never really supported the music thing, because before I ever did music, before I ever wrote a rap, I'm an artist first, like a real artist. Paint, I draw.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? All of those, not that, you know what I'm saying? All of this is forms of art.
Right.
But like I was, I used to draw, I used to paint and things like that. So that's really the life that she wanted for me. You know what I'm saying? That's what everybody thought I was gonna be. When I grew up, when I got older, they thought, my mom tried to put me in art school. I failed the test on purpose. I didn't want to go. And as I got older, I started being outside more. So when you're out, you can't be outside and be drawing. Yeah, right. It just doesn't. And I started getting more intrigued by what was going on outside. So I was out more and inside to draw less. And also I just like lost interest. Like,
right.
I lost interest.
It just wasn't a passion anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't, because people were trying to force it on me. Like, now you're like, it was a passion until you guys started trying to force it on me. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, all right, you got to do this and you got to do that. Oh, we're going to put you in art school. Like, then it's like, it kind of like takes away from it.
Yeah. Now it's kind of adding pressure on you to be.
Yeah, right. So
I'm not going to lie. I do that to my brother sometimes. Because, I mean, now that I'm older, now I realize, you know, exactly what you're talking about. Right. But when you see a younger kid with talent, you're like, oh shit, like go get it, because you really can do this. You know what I mean? So it's
cool
kind of
encourage it. Like,
you got to find an approach.
Yeah, you can encourage it, but don't force them to. You know,
right?
Like you can't force them. But yeah, so that's what it turned into. So my mom was never really supportive. And then she just didn't like the things that I was rapping about. But I was rapping about the things that I knew about.
Right.
So it's like, you know, it was more embellishment back then. You know what I'm saying? Like adding a little bit of sauce to it more back then, because I didn't have a lot of life experience back then to rap about certain things. But I did, because of where I grew up, I did see certain things and I did participate in certain things. So, like, she just didn't like the content. So she probably would have wanted me to rap like Little Bow Wow or something back then, but that's not the lifestyle I was living. Like, I didn't grow up with a mom that was my manager and all I seen was girls and stages. You know what I'm saying? My life was different, so I couldn't rap about what Bow Wow rapped about. I had to see, I rap about what I saw. So yeah.
Did she come back around now? Like around this time? You think?
Me and my mom, we don't really have a relationship right now. But we haven't. I haven't spoken to my mom in like almost 4 years.
Damn.
But you know, it is what it is. But yeah, from what I know of, she's probably proud of me in some sense. Probably from what I could maybe have heard from other people or things like that or whatever. Right. Yeah.
So going from there, always with an artist, and we always bring this up on the show, it's that what's next, especially with streaming platforms. You know, we're so used to content coming so quickly that a fan can't wait anymore. The moment you put out a song, they're like, all right, when's the next one coming? You know?
Yeah.
So what is the next
project since really 2019. So yeah, I have a project coming out called Hors d'oeuvres.
Okay.
And it's an EP. If anybody been following me on social media, or you know, you keeping up with me, I can cook too as well. Like that's another form of art. That's another talent that I have. Everybody in my family cooks. Everybody knows that. If you know,
if you knew, we could have had him chefing up a meal right now while they're doing the interview.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but so hors d'oeuvres is kind of based around I decided like to let people in more of like what I like as far as like my taste, just my taste level. You know what I'm saying? Like let people more into my personality. Like I'm heavy into art, like I was just saying. Like so all forms of art, whether it's fashion, whether it's culinary art, or whether it's you know, like sculpture, architecture, painting, even furniture. You know what I'm saying? Like all those types of things. So I just want to like show people those things more or whatever. And hors d'oeuvres is the project to kind of like let people in more on that. So but it's also a prequel. It's a prequel to a project that I have. It's actually a sequel to a project that I put out prior. My first official release, and I don't count anything before this, was Let Us Cook, which was released in 2015. So I have Let Us Cook 2 coming after hors d'oeuvres. So hors d'oeuvres is a prequel to the sequel.
Got you.
Right?
Oh, got you.
It's a prequel to the sequel. And then I have another project coming out or whatever. I don't want to give away the name, because if I'm gonna just give away the whole bag if I tell you the name. But it's another like small project, like a little EP or something.
Got it.
So it's like I have 3 projects planned to drop this year.
Is the question, we ever gonna get a little snippet that we could launch on the show? Or
yeah, of course.
There we go. That's how you peer pressure them on camera, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you do that.
All you gotta do is ask me. I'm with it.
Yeah. But so with that being said, tell everybody first of all where they can stay in tune with what you're doing and what's coming up, and any shout outs that you got to give out. You know, don't forget your girl, because we don't want you to get in trouble for this.
Yeah, she's not like that. But yeah, shout out. I mean, well, first of all, you can follow me on everything at Breeze Mantana. Everything is Breeze Mantana. Everything's synonymous with each other. The Facebook, the Instagram, Twitter, everything is Breeze Mantana. I don't know if people use Snapchat anymore, but Snapchat is Babyface Breeze if you use Snapchat. But everything else is Breeze Mantana.
Young kids are back on Snapchat, man. Yeah. For real.
Like me on Facebook. Follow me on everything at Breeze Mantana. And also, you can log on to breezemantana.com. You can sign up for my email or my mailing list. You could, you know, just stay in tune with me there. That's where you could always find me. If all of these other apps switch up and things like that, you'll always be able to find me at breezemantana.com.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Breeze Mantana out here in Atlanta.
Yes,
make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. Check us out on all podcast platforms. Give us 5 stars anywhere that they allow stars. And just stay in tune.
Let Us Cook 2 on the way. Hors d'oeuvres on the way.
A lot of projects coming.
Yeah.
And we'll be seeing Breeze soon for sure. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at _QBPC. Follow Breeze at Breeze Mantana, Mantana. And once again, subscribe.
I'm Shawn Michaels standing by the turnbuckle. Super kicks getting sweet chin, come learn something. A jigginess in my jeans, it's so seamless it seems. This the house breeze built out of Supreme bricks. The Corleone of the cornerstone corner stores. Used to spend summers out Hagerstown and